NLWN-TV is on the air. Today we proudly present a Western Saddle Clubs Association Open Equestrian Show. Recorded live from Wild Bill's Saddle Club just outside Mound, Wisconsin. And now, out to Wild Bill's for coverage of today's Open Equestrian Show. Hello and welcome to Wild Bill's Saddle Club just outside of Elk Mound, Wisconsin, where we have open equestrian games for you today on NLWN. Today, right now they're competing in the egg and spoon, but we have a whole line of equestrian games coming up, from pole weaving to the key race, barrel racing, the foreign line barrels, jumping figure eight, speed dash, and there's also a ribbon race. And as long as the weather holds, we're going to hold, and we're going to have open equestrian games for you right here from Wild Bill's Saddle Club on NLWN. Rick Olson here. Dan Petschau is going to slide in next to me in just a minute, and we'll have it all for you then. And we will be back with the pole weaving right after this brief timeout. You're watching Open Equestrian Games on NLWN-TV.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
And welcome back to Wild Bill's Saddle Club here in Elk Mound, Wisconsin. We're about ready to get started with the pole weaving, ages 10 and under. They just finished the egg and spoon for the games, and Megan Gartner on Jazzy won that. And we have two riders listed. Stacy Emerson, that's how they got it, is riding Remy. And I believe she's the first one up. And she's in the arena. We'll go through this and how this works in just a moment. And Dan is coming back with more of the sheets for us. But Stacy is off and running, or Stacy Emerson is off and running. She makes the end turn and is coming back. As she's coming back, Dan, why don't you tell us what this event's all about?
Pole weaving, it's 6 poles. You go weave them down, turn around, and weave them back. Fastest time wins.
And
we need some volunteers to be a ring crew to help the judge, so I need at least 2 volunteers out there to help with pole.
I'm waiting to hear Stacy's time. We don't have a clock that's visible to us here, and so we have to wait and see what time they give us. So you can see right now with the image up there, although there's a few too many poles listed there, but that's kind of what the pattern looks like. They weave their way down, turn around at the top.
Next rider, Rickson, shooter. Oh, the time for the last rider, sorry. Emerson Stacy on Remy, your time was 21.801. Our next rider.
So that time was 21.801 for Emerson. And that brings up Autumn Brixon. And she's on board shooter. And Autumn is on her way down. And a lot of times, these are the 10 and under, Dan. A lot of times these guys are just kind of learning their horse, learning the pattern.
Yep, just want to make sure you get a clean run.
Weaving 14 to 17, and I have Emily Sears on chip, Alexis Cannon on 60, and Kaylee Schlayer on sorry, or weaving 11 to 13. I have Bailey Stouffer on Ginger.
And she's on her way back. And she did get a nice clean run.
Megan Gardner on Jazzy.
So Autumn Brixton, see what her time is. And we're still waiting on the time for Autumn Brixton. They're pretty busy up in the booth, trying to do 6 things all at the same time. Last minute registrations. And
Yep.
and evidently they have a problem with the timer.
I don't usually enough games. Be calm. I'll get to ya. We're having a problem with the timer. Thanks.
All right, there is a problem with the timer, so while they're getting that fixed, and Dan is going over to help him because he's pretty used to doing this out of bit and spur, we're going to take a brief time out. You're watching Open Equestrian Games on NLWN-TV.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
Okay, and we're back here at Wild Bill Saddle Club in Elk Mound, and we're going to have a rerun for Autumn Brixton in the 10 and under for pole weaving because they had a timer issue. Dan, those are kind of tricky, aren't they?
Yeah, two lasers. You got to get lined up perfect.
And once they are, they do a heck of a job, but you got to make sure they're lined up. And something got bumped a little bit and got it out of whack, and now it's off and running. Autumn gets around that top pole and is working her way back. And around her last pole and comes across.
And the time for Autumn is 27.880.
27.880 for Autumn Brixton. So she'll end up in second place. And first place is Emerson Stacy on board Remy. That brings us to the 11 to 13-year-old age group. And Bailey Schaefer is up riding Ginger. Bailey Schaefer on Ginger. And she gets around that top pole, coming back. And she gets a nice clean run for Bailey Schaefer on board Ginger. 16.949, so that's the pole to beat, or the time to beat in the polls. That's going to bring up Sienna Pinder, and Sienna's riding Nancy. And Sienna and Nancy are off and running. And she kind of zigzags widely around these poles, but that gives you a little bit of better angle at the gap sometimes. Sienna working her way back. And she makes it around the last one. Nice clean time.
Sienna's time is 25.448.
25.448. That brings up.
You're on deck, and Blake, you are in the hole.
There.
That's the horse's name.
Yeah, there's a Megan something or other, and the onboard Jazzy. And she's off and running. She nudges a pole, knocks a pole over. Fourth pole down, she knocked over. And now she knocked the fifth pole down. Like I've always said, if you knock one, you might as well knock two. And so Megan comes across with a no time.
But the no time for Megan. Then we'll have, after we set the poles, Addie will be up. Blake on
Addison Owens on banjo is up next. So waiting for Addison Owens. Poles are all set. And here comes Addison. These are the 11 to 13-year-olds. And she gets turned around and on her way. Not quite. She's getting banjo wound up. Nothing like tuning the banjo. And we're off and running. Almost turned a little bit too far that time. That's pretty wide up at the top end, wouldn't you say, Dan?
Just a little bit. Not too bad, though. Good clean time, looks like, gonna be.
There we go.
Addie's time is
21.104. That puts her currently in second place. And that brings up Blake Badger, or Bader. Blake Bader on Dolly. And Blake comes into the arena. And Blake is off and running. Gets around the first two poles, third pole and fourth pole. Everything clean so far. He's nice and tight to the poles. Oh, he missed a pole, I believe. I believe this will be a no time.
Sorry, Blake, that's a no time.
He had a nice looking run going too.
Yep, just missed one pole.
Joseph Muzinski, I'm sorry, Joe, if I'm mispronouncing your last name. He's on board Rex. And then we have the 14 to 17-year-olds. And this is Joe. And he's off and running. Got the turn. Coming back. Joe on board Rex. Got him inside that last pole. He got a clean run. 15.370, and that's our new leader. So that brings up Carter Brixton, I believe. And Carter is on Joker. He's clean all the way down. Good turn at the top. Again, sticking close to the poles. Oh, and down he goes. And right back up he gets. So it's going to be a no time. He gets a nice round of applause from the crowd for getting right back up again. So that finishes the 11 to 13-year-olds. Third place was Addison Owens on banjo. Second place went to Bailey Stauffer on ginger. And first place with a time of 15.370, Joseph Muzinski on Rex. That's going to bring up the 14 to 17-year-olds. Emily Severson on board Chip will be our first rider once they get the poles straightened out. And how far apart are those poles, Dan?
Poles are 21 feet off the timer and 21 feet apart. Not much room in between there.
Especially when, what's the average length of a horse?
I would say 8 feet.
Okay. So you're getting a horse that's moving to try and make that turn and get in between the poles. It's an 8-foot long horse in a 21-foot gap.
And they probably got about an 8-foot stride.
You got about 6 feet on each end of the horse to work with. And when you include the stride, like you were saying, all of a sudden that can get kind of complicated.
It gets a little tight in there. And the faster the horse goes, the smaller the gap looks.
Yes, that's right.
Maybe you'll have to come over sometime. We'll throw you up there and have you go through it.
As long as you promise there's an ambulance waiting and I can walk when I'm done. Okay, Emily Severson is the first one up on Chip. As she comes into the arena. Nice turn on the first one, but she missed a pole. So we're going to get a broken pattern and a no time for Emily. Looks like she started off a little fast.
Yep, got a little anxious. Like I said, that gap will look smaller and smaller the faster you go.
So, oh, they're saying that's a Molly, the Molly Stewart possibly.
11 13 in first place. We have Equestrian 15370.
Okay, so Molly evidently was supposed to be in the 11 to 13 and had signed up in the wrong class inadvertently. That's why. So now we have Emily Severson. So we have Emily Severson coming up in the 14 to 17-year-old age group. Now here goes Emily. There we go. Coming back. Nice looking run so far. Nice clean run. Emily Severson. 13.594. It's the fastest time of the day for Emily Severson so far anyway. Alexis Caniff is the next one in, and she is riding Dixie. Pretty good time to beat by Emily. And Alexis is heading down. And I'm sure you can hear the wind blowing here. It's picking up a little bit. Wide turn at the top. And coming down, Alexis Caniff.
Her time is 20.502.
20.502. That currently puts her in second place. Kaylee Schleyer on board Amber. I learned that one last week, Dan. Kaylee Schleyer on board Amber is our next rider. We're waiting for her to come into the gate area. Weather's been a little bit threatening today, but right now I'm seeing some patches of blue and
nice little breeze.
There's a nice breeze keeping things from getting too hot. Kaylee in the arena now. Circles her horse around. And off and running she goes. Makes a turn at the top. And Coming through and riding hard. Nice clean run.
Time is 15.205.
15.205. That puts her into second place so far.
And Kira, you are in the hole.
So, Lila. Almost like Cleveland, I believe. On Ms. Bonanza Breeze is the horse that she's riding. Ms. Bonanza Breeze. The horse ready to go, going hard. Right from the get-go. Gets turned at the top. Good looking run. Lost her hat, which is going to be an O time.
No, it'll be I think it's just a penalty.
Oh, it might be a penalty. All right. We'll have to wait and see what they do as a result of the lost hat. There are rules about that, aren't there, Dan?
There is.
Okay, the time for Leila with a +1 penalty is a 15.488.
15.488. They have a +1 penalty for losing the hat. So that puts her into third place.
Okay,
And Anna Wood on board Holly is our next rider.
Allison, Lydia, and Jensen.
We are waiting, and she's coming into the gate area now. Again, this is Anna Wood. Round and round she goes. And now she's off and running. Good looking run so far. And knocks over that fourth pole. And she finishes the run, but unfortunately it'll be in no time for Anna Wood.
Anna, that was a no time. Sorry, I have, after the poles are set.
We have Kira Prochnow.
Ainsley on deck, and Edison.
And so it's Kira Prochnow on Loudy will be our next rider. Ainsley Olsen on deck, and then older sister Addison Olsen in the hole. And I want you to pay special attention to the hat that Addison Olsen is wearing. She's proudly proclaiming the NLWN-TV hat.
Somebody you know?
Just a tad bit, yes. One of my numerous granddaughters. Actually, they're both part of my numerous granddaughters. I have 6 granddaughters, and so it's a third of my granddaughters are riding here today.
That keeps you busy.
It does. And I'm proud of all the grandkids. I've got 2 grandsons as well. But that's the privilege of being a grandpa. You get to be that way. So we're waiting on Kira. We're actually waiting for them to get the poles finished up. You can see them working on those right now. And now they've got the poles cleared, so we're waiting for Kira.
All right, so we have Kira, you're up, Ainsley, you're on deck, and Addison, you are in the hole with Lydia and Jensen.
So Kira coming into the gate area and now into the arena. She's off and running. She's on board Loudy. We saw this horse last week do some really nice running. And nice clean run for Loudy.
Time for Judah is a 12.553.
That's going to be our new leader, 12.553.
On deck, and Lydia, you are in the hole, and then Jensen will be our final rider.
And so now we have Ainsley Olson,
Third, we have
and she's on board Bubs.
Alexis, Memphis, and Allie.
Waiting for Ainsley to get here.
Looks like he's making her way in right now.
Ainsley getting a guide into the arena. Now, Ainsley doesn't do this real often. She's kind of a rookie at it.
Gotta get started sometime.
And Bubs is taking his time, as is Ainsley. Older sister Addison said she's not sure that Bubs has ever run the poles before. So Ainsley doing a nice job of keeping him in the pattern. Little bit wide. Picking up the pace a little bit, and we have a missed pole, so we have a no time for Ainsley. She's going to go back and get it anyway. With a broken pattern. Well, she didn't knock any over anyway. So Ainsley, it's a no time.
We have Addison up.
Now Addison is up.
Jensen, you are in the hole. Don't have the class.
Addison on board Adira. Addison coming in with that NLWN-TV hat on top of her head. Hoping that Adira gives her a good ride. Oh, and knocked over the fourth pole. That fourth pole's been going down a lot for people. And she got the last pole too. See, she listens to Grandpa. If you knock over one, you might as well knock over two. Addison's a little disappointed with that. So a no time for Addison.
No time. Make sure you're wearing your cowboy hat. Please let the pole. When we're ready, and then Jensen will be our final rider.
And
Into T234. We're gonna drag for
so now we are waiting for Lydia Leach on Dust of Ace. Once they get the poles reset. And then I believe she said they're going to drag the arena, if I'm not mistaken, Dan.
Yep. Always good to smooth it out a little bit, get the ruts and the...
Well, that's also for the safety of both the rider and the horse, too. They don't want them stepping where they shouldn't ought to be stepping and turning something they shouldn't ought to be turning.
Got a good crowd here today.
There is a nice crowd here. Well, it's a beautiful day to do this if they're not scared off by the weather forecast. Nice breeze, cool temperatures. So still waiting on Lydia Leach. Because the poles are now set.
All right, Lydia, you are up. Jensen, you are.
And here comes Lydia. And she's off and running. Now, Dan, that time it looked like the horse thought maybe about going to the left side of that first pole. It really wouldn't have mattered, would it?
Right, yep, you can go either direction.
And she gets a nice clean run.
Lydia's time is 14.864.
14.864, and that's going to move her into third place. And we have one more rider in this age group, Jensen Basil. Jensen Basil, and Jensen is out in the arena. She's off and running. And knocked over the 5th pole, so no time for Jensen. It looks like Jensine, but if I'm not mistaken, when she was asked, she said it's pronounced Jensen.
Yep, Jensen Basil.
And so, in the 14 to 17-year-old age group in the pole weaving, 3rd place went to Lydia Leach on Dust of Ace. 2nd place to Emily Severson on Chip. And 1st place to Kira Prochnow on Loudy, and Kira's time was 12.553. They're going to drag the arena as we get ready for the 18 to 34-year-old age group. And while they do that, we'll take a brief time out. You're watching Open Equestrian Games on NLWN-TV.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Okay, we're back at Wild Bill Saddle Club, just outside Elk Mound, Wisconsin, with our Open Equestrian Games. Ariel Backus is going to be riding Bo in the 18 to 34-year-old age group for pole weaving. And we also have Kelsey Hines, Alexis Quack. Quack, okay. And Memphis Cleveland. So here is Ariel Backus on Bo. She's in the arena, gets wound around. And is off and going. Coming back down, good clean run. Waiting on the time for Ariel.
Ariel's time,
18.407. That is our first time in this age group. So that brings up Kelsey Hines on board Story. She comes into the gate and into the arena. She gets down to the top end. And is coming back. Waiting on 16.972. That puts her in first place and Ariel into second place. Alexis Quack on board Diamond. And she's getting turned around, getting ready to go. And gets down to the far end cleanly and back.
The time is 14.462.
14.462. And that is now our new leader. So Memphis Cleveland is our next rider. Memphis is in. Again, this is the 18 to 34-year-old age group. Clean down. Oh, nope, not quite clean going down. Knocked over the very last pole, so it is a no time for Memphis Cleveland on board Sky. So that finishes up that 18 to 34 age group. Third place goes to Ariel Backus on Bow. Second place to Kelsey Hines on Story. First place with a time of 14.462 on board Diamond was Alexis Quack. That's going to bring up the 35 to 49-year-old age group. And Terry Schleyer on Shotgun. And then Dawn Wickman on Wilbur. It's kind of like backwards of Mr. Ed, isn't it? That's what he used to say.
Right, yeah.
Wilbur.
That was a good show.
Well, you know, a horse is a horse, of course.
Of course.
Unless you can talk to a horse, of course. So they got the pole straightened out, and we are now waiting for Terry Schleyer. And Terry is on Shotgun. Terry is now in the arena.
Allie
Lena. Check that. And Allie gets around the first couple poles. And turns at the top. And she makes a clean run. This is a great example of a rider with disabilities being able to compete. Okay, and so her time was 32.387, and actually she was the last rider in the 18 to 34-year-old age group.
All right, please leave for 18 to 34 in first place. We have Alexis.
And so it didn't change the placing. Alexis Quack still ended up in first place, and the top three were still the way we read them before. And so now we have pole weaving 35 to 49, and to the best of my knowledge, Terry Schleyer and Dawn Wickman are the only two that we have set up. We have a Carrie in there as well. But Terry Schleyer on board Shotgun. He's getting things lined up. Terry gets turned around and off he goes. You know, Dan, it appears to me, as you look down there, the less you see the body of the rider move, the horse sways out from underneath, but the less the body moves, the better time you're going to get. Waiting for Terry's time. 13.859, a real nice time for someone to try to beat.
Yeah, you just want to make it kind of just a little sidestep as you go through.
So we have Dawn Wickman up next. Dawn is on Wilbur. She backs into the arena. Gets Wilbur turned, and off they go. And coming back, it's a clean run for Dawn.
So I'm telling you,
16.275. And we don't have Carrie here, so I don't know what her last name is. But we're waiting to see her run, and she is. We're getting handwritten printouts of these, and Carrie gets quite wide at that top end. And they get people registering at the last minute, so sometimes we don't get the last couple entries. And she comes through. It is a clean run. 24.025 for Carrie. So Carrie will end up in third place. Second place went to Dawn Wickman, and first place to Terry Schleyer on shotgun with a 13.855. So Cindy Weir on the 50 and over. She's the only one in the 50 and over. And here goes Cindy. Gets turned at the top. And now she's on her way back. And it's clean. 15.261 for Cindy Weir. Of course, that will give her the win. And that gets us, the next event will be the key race, and they're going to drag the arena before the key race starts. So while they do that, we'll take this brief time out. You're watching Open Equestrian Games from Wild Bill's outside Elk Mound on NLWN-TV.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
What do you call a pig that knows karate?
Pork chop.
So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on
it. And we're back here at Wild Bill's Arena, just outside of Elk Mound, or Wild Bill Saddle Club, and we're getting ready for the key race, ages 10 and under. Dan, why don't you tell us about, well, if I can get the computer to cooperate here. Tell us about the key race, Dan.
Yep. Key race is 8 poles. They're 4 feet wide, 10 feet long. You go down through, turn around, come back through. Fastest time wins.
And actually, I think, isn't it 6 poles? Our diagram shows 8, but I think it's 6.
Yeah, there might be 6 here.
But how wide are those poles?
They're 4 feet wide.
Which isn't very much space as you get down close to them.
Gotta keep your elbows in.
All right. So we have the 10 and under age group coming up.
Keep your hands inside the ride.
There you go. And coming up is Emerson Stacy on board Remy. And Emerson is off and going. We have a real nice view right down the middle of the key. She makes it down through, gets turned around at the top. Very nice turnaround at the top. Nudged a pole, but it didn't go over. Waiting for a time on Emerson.
Emerson's time is
11.769. And then Autumn Brixon on Shooter. Autumn Brixon. And it's coming down, back through. And Autumn's going to have a clean run.
Autumn's time, 21.950.
21.950 is the time for Autumn Brixon. So she took second place, and first place went to Emerson Stacy on board Remy with a time of 11.769. And that brings us to the 11 to 13-year-old age group. Bailey Stauffer on board Ginger is our first rider. And she's heading down. Little wiggle from the horse just before they entered into the gate, but they made it through okay. Turned around and come back. Clean ride for Bailey.
And the time, 12.744.
12.744. So that is the time to beat so far. Sienna Pinder is up, and then Megan Gartner after that. Sienna Pinder is on board Nancy. Sienna waiting to get going. Gets Nancy turned around. Encourages Nancy to get going, and she's off and running. And Nancy kind of faltered as she got to the poles. I got her nose between the first and second pole. I don't know. Is this going to be a broken pattern, Dan?
It'll be close. She did have to come back. They want forward movement, and she had to come back. So,
and the horse kind of wants to go between the poles again. Horse wants to do pole weaving.
That's it.
And she got it through. We'll see if this is a broken pattern.
Dennis time.
She does get a time.
33.773.
33.773. And that puts her currently in second place. Brings up Megan Gartner on Jazzy. We're waiting for Megan. Here she comes.
You are up. Addison, you are on deck. And Blake, you are in the hole. And Joseph, Carter, and Molly.
So Megan Gartner. Got through quickly. Gets the horse turned around and through the key again. A clean run for Megan on board Jazzy. 13.091. That puts her in second place. That's going to bring up Addison Owens on board Banjo.
Today's games on Tuesday evening on the NLWN-TV starting at 6 p.m. Just go to YouTube and search for NLWN-TV.
And into the arena comes Addison.
Also, continue to watch the Wild Boy Rider Facebook page. We will be adding another Friday Night Fun show. So watch our page to see when we add that. For more spots on the
And Addison's off and not going quite yet. Still doing her warm-up loops, and now she's off and running. And Banjo didn't really want to go between those poles. And she got Banjo through there. Now she gets Banjo to come back.
$1 per square, 2 chances to win each car.
And a clean run. Waiting for the time on Addison.
And the time,
17.824. 17.824. That will put her into third place. And Blake Bader is up. Blake goes down clean, gets turned around, coming back through. And a good clean run for Blake. Waiting for Blake's time.
And Blake's time is 14.686.
14.686. That will put Blake into third place.
And then
Joe Mizinski on board Rex is next. Now that doesn't qualify as your hat coming off, does it? That's why you have the chin strap.
Yep. Should have a hat string.
And Joe finishes it. Actually, there's something really nice looking about that hat coming off in the back like that. Very good time for Joseph, 11.541, and Joseph is your new leader. Carter Brixon. Carter Brixon. Gets turned around at the top end, comes back through. Got a little exciting on Carter there at the end.
Hit the brakes.
14.677. That'll put him into, well, he's not into third place. So Molly Stewart on board Betsy. And she knocked over the first pole, so that's going to be a no time for Molly. So in that 11 to 13-year-old age group, third place went to Megan Gartner on Jazzy. Second place went to Bailey Stauffer on Ginger. And first place with a time of 11.541 to Joe Mizinski on board Rex. That's going to bring us to the 14 to 17-year-old age group. And there we have Emily Severson on board Chip will lead off the age group.
11 to 13 in first place, we have Joseph Mizinski with Rex. In second place,
Bailey Stouffer, like Stouffer.
The lasagna.
Megan Gardner with Jazzy.
Okay, they have the poles all straightened out, and we are ready for that 14 to 17-year-old age group. Emily Severson is the first one up on board Chip. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is Ainsley Olson.
Team race 14 to 17. Ainsley, yes, you're up. Emily on deck and Keely in the hole.
I don't know why Ainsley's the first one up, but she is. Actually, it's because they have to swap helmets. So they need time to do that. So Ainsley is the first one up. And she gets down between the poles, gets Bubs turned around and coming back through the pole, and that lead pole fell over, so it's a no time for Ainsley. Boy, she had it almost all the way through and just a little hip action at the end.
Slow motion there.
Yeah, it almost looked like it might stay.
Emily, after the poles are set up, you will be up first, then, or next, sorry.
And it's to Ainsley's benefit that, yeah, I forgot to switch over to the field camera that time, and so she won't see the pole getting knocked over by her. But now we have Emily Severson coming up. Yes, evidently Addison, wearing our NLWN-TV hat, caught some grief from the judge. And so...
Well, that's right, because you got to have a cowboy hat.
It's got to be a cowboy hat. A baseball hat won't cut it. And so...
Yep, they do have a dress code for WSCA shows.
Addison was thinking that, well, it's just got to be a hat. And so that means we have to put it in our budget to get an NLWN-TV cowboy hat. That's all. All right, so it's Emily Severson up there right now. Emily cleanly down. Nice turn at the top and back through. She took a look over her shoulder. She knew she bumped that pole, but it didn't go over.
Emily's time, 9.647.
9.647 for Emily Severson. Kylie Schleyer on Amber is the next one up.
Keely, you are up. Layla, you are on deck, and Anna, you are in
And
the
we're
hole.
still waiting for her to approach the gate area. Some of these riders are a little ways off when their turn is up, and sometimes that'll make an announcer, a booth announcer, get a little upset if they aren't ready to come in right away.
Everybody's got their own quirks on how they want to get started.
And a lot of it's how the horse deals with being close to the arena and so on. So there's Kaylee. She's off hard. Turned around at the top. Bumps a pole, but it stays up. And it gets a clean time.
Keely's time is 12.478.
12.478. That'll currently put her into second place. Layla Cleveland is up, followed by Anna Wood. Layla Cleveland. Trying to get the horse to come through the gate. Nice and easy. And she gets a turn and off they go. It's a turn coming back through. Nice clean run, good fast run. Look for a good time here for Layla.
Time for Layla is 10.897.
It's a good time, 10.897. That's going to put her in second place.
And Addison, you're in the hole.
So Anna Woods is up. Kira's on deck. Anna Woods on board Holly. Coming through the gate and into the arena. And she makes another loop around, warm up. And now they're off and running. Anna on board Holly. Nice tight turn at the top, back through. Clean time for Anna Wood.
Anna's time is 10.725.
10.725.
Addison, you are on
That
deck.
puts her in second place. Kira Prochnow is currently up. And Kira's on Loudy. Loudy won the polls. Let's see how she does on the keyhole. Or the key race. Quickly, straight through. Gets turned at the top. Coming back through.
Kira's time is 9.763.
9.763, second place. And that's going to bring up Addison. Addison in the gate area. And coming through. She's on board Adira. Addison gets turned, coming through. Nice clean run for Addison. She may get a good time out of this.
Addison's time is 10.623.
10.623. And that's going to put her in third place. Addison is in third place. And that's going to bring up Jensine Basil. Jensine is in the arena. There she goes. Gets down, turns around at the top. On her way back through. Another good-looking time. We've had a series of those all of a sudden. Jensen Basil.
Jensen's time is 10.791.
10.791. That keeps her just out of the top three. And Lydia Leach. Is it Leach?
Yep.
The handwriting was kind of hard.
Leach.
And Dust of Ace is her horse. Looking to beat the time of 9.647. And Dust of Ace did a little rearing at the top end. Doesn't really want to come back through those poles. Now Dust of Ace comes through. See if this is a time or if... And Dust of Ace with an opinion about that as he came across. They did give her a time, 24.454. So that finishes up the 14 to 17-year-olds. Third place on board Adira is Addison Olson. Second place on Loudy is Kira Prochnow. And in first place with a time of 6.747 on board Chip is Emily Severson. That's going to bring us to the 18 to 34-year-old age group. And Ariel Backers. Oh, check that. That's Alexis Kwok on Diamond made that run. Alexis evidently is in that 14 to 17-year-old age group. And what was that time she got?
16.864.
16.864. That doesn't change anything from what we had read off. Now we're ready for the 18 to 34-year-old age group.
Happens every so often. Somebody enters the wrong class.
Just grabs the wrong piece of paper and puts it down.
Nope.
Placing for key rate 14 to 17. In first place, we have Emily Severson and Chip. In second place, Kira Prochnow and Loudy. In third place, we have Addison Olson with Adria, I think. I'm sorry, I can't read the handwriting. Adira! Somebody knows your first. Okay, and then in fourth place, we have Anna Wood.
Okay, so we have 18 to 34-year-olds, Ariel Bakers on board. Bo will be the first rider. Waiting for them to finish with the poles, making sure they're nice and straight.
Maybe Bacchus? Bakers? Bacchus? Bacchus.
We'll see how the public address announcer says it, but sometimes she doesn't do the last names.
Yeah.
Reminder, Wild Rose Riders, we'll have another Friday fun night. Please watch our Facebook page.
So we're still waiting. They're still working on the poles down there, making sure they're nice and straight.
4 feet wide, 10 feet long.
Pretty much straight up and down.
Yep.
You know, there's many hooves that go down there. It'd be real easy for part of the stand to slip into one of those hoof prints and put it at an angle. Those are what, about 6 foot tall poles, 7 foot, something like that?
Probably 7 foot.
18 to 34, we will have Ariel, Kelsey, Alexis, Memphis, and Allie. And our first rider, Ariel, you are up.
So we do have Ariel coming up. That other Alexis wasn't Alexis Kwok. I didn't check to see who the name was, but Alexis Kwok is in this age group. And so anyway, here goes Ariel, off and running. And kind of missed the poles. Now the horse wants to back up. Bo is not really liking this idea too much. And then back through there. You know, Dan, sometimes you get the feeling that maybe what they say is, that the horse says is 28.297 is the time that she gets on that. Kelsey Hines is up on Stormy, but sometimes I get the feeling that the horse says, hey, I went through these once, why are you trying to get me to go through it again?
Yeah, we've all been there.
And these horses have opinions.
Way too much of an opinion some days.
Kelsey Hines on Story. Little falter at the beginning, but gets through the poles, gets turned around at the top and back through the poles quickly. Kelsey at 12.157, that currently puts her in the lead. This is Alexis Kwok on board Diamond. Alexis almost wanted to, or the horse almost wanted to go, Diamond did, and Alexis thought, we're not quite ready. Now they're off and going. Gets turned around at the top and back through. Looking for a good time for Alexis and Diamond.
Alexis' time is
9.995, and there's your new leader, Alexis Kwok. And now Memphis Cleveland coming into the arena. Memphis Cleveland, and off and running. Down, gets turned around and coming back through. Nudged a pole, but it stayed up. A good run for Memphis.
Memphis, your time is 10.982.
10.982 is her time. That puts her in second place. And Allie Lehman is up. And they're off and going.
Rescue race is a prime example of what he did not like. I wish I could do that.
Allie gets the horse turned around at the top. I don't have the horse's name here, but on board Star. And Allie comes through.
Allie's time is 20.917.
20.917 for Allie. That will put her just outside the running. So that finishes the 18 to 34-year-old age group. Third place went to Kelsey Hines on Story. Second place to Memphis Cleveland on Sky. And first place went to Alexis Kwok on Diamond with a time of 9.995. And that's going to bring us to the 35 to 49-year-old age group. We have Terry Schleyer leading the way. And then Dawn right after Terry. Terry coming into the arena. And And Terry is on shotgun. He's getting shotgun ready to go. Checks his hat to make sure it's not going to blow off in the wind. And there he goes.
She seems to enjoy it a little more than just like pattern. She gets too antsy.
Turns around, comes back through.
These guys are shooters.
And his time?
Terry's time is 11.253.
11.253. That's going to be the time to beat for Dawn. Dawn Wickman will be our next rider. This is the 35 to 49-year-old age group. We are at Wild Bill's in what's turning into a beautiful Sunday afternoon. You're watching on Tuesday evening, hoping it's just as beautiful then. And Dawn is in, and there they go. Dawn on board Wilbur. Nudges the pole, it stays up. And coming back through. Dawn Wickman with a clean run. And waiting for her time.
Dawn, your time is 11.128.
11.128. And by just over a tenth of a second, Dawn takes first place. Dawn Wickman on board Wilbur with 11.128. Terry Schleyer on shotgun came in second. That gets us to the 50 and over with Cindy Weir. These handwritten sheets give me all kinds of interesting pronunciations. Cindy Weir will be our next rider, and she is in the arena waiting for her chance to go once they get the poles ready. Following that, they will drag the arena probably a little more thoroughly than the last drag and set up the barrels.
Barrels are always a good one to watch.
Well, it's a lot of skill involved in the barrels, and you get skill mixed with speed and a lot of each. And it's what a lot of people tend to tune in for as well. They want to see the barrels.
Yep, barrels are popular.
Okay, Cindy is ready to go. She's off and running. She hit the pole in the end, but it stayed up. She gets turned, comes back through.
Cindy's time, 10.759.
10.759 for Cindy Weir. She ends up with first place in that 50 and over. And I have a question for you while they're getting ready to drag the arena here, Dan. Now, when she nudged that pole at the end, had it gone over, and since she is the only entrant in that age group, would there have just been no results in that age group?
There would be no results.
Okay, because you got to make it clean to get a time. You got to have a time to get counted.
Right, yep, because your points go towards the WSCA Champ Show, which is held in Minneapolis at the fairgrounds, so it's all got to be legal.
Okay, and you know what? We're going to be back with barrel racing right after this timeout. You're watching Open Equestrian Games from Wild Bill Saddle Club outside of Elk Mound, Wisconsin on NLWN-TV.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad. That's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
And we're back here at Wild Bill Saddle Club in Elk Mound, Wisconsin, getting ready for the barrel races. Dan, why don't you explain to us the barrel racing pattern?
Yep, Barrel racing is either one turn to the left, two to the right, or one to the right, two to the left in a clover leaf pattern. Fastest time wins.
So it's kind of like inside out on all of them.
Yeah, right. Yep.
All right, Emerson Stacy on the 10 and under age group is our first rider. And Emerson is off and running. She goes to the left first, which is kind of backwards from the way a lot of riders do it. Now around to the right, and now up to the top barrel.
Good run going here.
She does have a very nice looking run. Looking for a good time. Her time is 17.130. So Autumn does it look like Britain to you or
Brixon?
Brixon. Okay. Autumn Brixon. Trying to beat 17.130. And she's going to the more usual right-hand barrel first.
After Autumn, we have barrels 11, 13. I have Bailey, Sienna, Megan, Addison, Blake, Joseph, Carter, and
And now she goes across to the left barrel. She's riding Shooter, getting Shooter to go up to the top barrel. And coming back down. She does have a nice clean run.
Autumn's time,
33.495. So in the 10 and under, second place, Autumn Dixon. And first place, Emerson Stacy on Remy with a time of 17.130. That brings us to the 11 to 13-year-olds. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Bailey Stouffer, and she is off and running, going to the right side. She went straight down the center and then cut off to the right, rather than going straight to the right. And cleared the left and did a very wide loop around up to the top barrel and back down to home.
time for Bailey is
21.291. Sienna Pinder on Nancy is our next rider.
Sienna, you are up. Megan is on deck.
As she comes into the arena. Sienna on Pinder. And now she's off and going. And she makes the right barrel. And comes around the left barrel. Around the top barrel. She got a clean run, and at this stage of the game, that's the more important thing, am I right?
Clean time is always good.
Wait and see what Sienna's time is.
Time for Sienna, 28.166.
28.166.
You are on deck, and Blake, you are in the hall.
So, Megan Gortner is the next rider up. That's the Megan that we didn't have before, I believe. And she's riding Jazzy. Now she's off and going. Takes that right barrel. Heading to the left, holds her hat on. Now heading to the last barrel. On a breezy day, sometimes that keeping the hat on is a trick. Like right there. She's going to have a +1 penalty. 19.952. That's still going to be enough to put her into first place. At least so far. That's with the +1 penalty. Now Addison Owens is our next rider.
Yep, hat strings or helmets.
Well, it's very nice of Mother Nature to illustrate what I was talking about. I feel badly for Megan that it did it at that moment, but
Okay, Addison, you are up.
Addison Owens on banjo.
Contact, then Carter, and then Molly will finish
See how
up.
tightly she's got banjo strings all wound up here. See what kind of a tune they can make. And I'm done making puns.
I love puns.
At least for this run.
I love puns.
They can be very punny.
They can.
And she gets around the right or the left barrel. Now the top barrel. And coming back down. Looking to beat 19.9.
Adding time,
21.394. And that should be enough to put her into third place. So we have Blake Bader up and Joseph on deck. And Blake makes a turn. Blake is on board dollar. He gets around the first barrel on the left side there, but he's going to retire the horse. He didn't want to make the run, and he's taking a no time on that. And that gets us to Joseph Musinski on Rex. Joseph Musinski. He's got a chin strap on his hat. He's not going to let it go.
Especially on a windy day like today.
That's right. That's kind of just being aware of your surroundings. He makes a turn. Heads off to that right barrel, gets around it. Now to the left barrel. And knocked the left barrel over, so unfortunately for Joe, that's a no time. That brings up Carter Brixon. Carter Brixon and Molly Stewart in the hole. Or on deck, I should say. Carter Brixon is up. Molly Stewart on deck. Carter's approaching the gate area. Here he comes. Here goes Carter. And he knocked over the first barrel, no time. So with that no time for Carter, that's going to bring up Molly Stewart as the last rider for this class in the barrels.
Molly, and then we will move to our 14 to 17. I have Emily on Chip, then Alexis, Kaylee, Layla, Anna, Kira, Ainsley, and then Emily on Sparks.
And we have to get the barrel straightened that Carter knocked over. And now they have the barrel up, waiting for the arena help to get out of the way. And we can send Molly Stewart, last rider of this age group, off and running. She clears the right barrel, heading for the left. Clears the left, heading to the top. She's around the top, coming back to the home stretch. And she gets a good clean time. Waiting to hear what her time is.
The time for Molly is
21.571. That completes the 11 through 13. And in third place, on board banjo, was Addison Owens. Second place, Bailey Stouffer on ginger. And first place with a time of 19.952 on board Jazzy was Megan Gortner. That brings up the 14 to 17-year-olds. And the first rider up is Emily Severson on board Chip. Emily clears that left barrel. Now she's going back around to the right. And to the top barrel. Good clean run for Emily.
Emily's time is 16.698.
16.698. That's the time to beat so far. That brings up Alexis Caniff on board Dixie.
Placings for barrels 11 to 13. In first place, we have Megan
Alexis
Gordner
Caniff.
with Jazzy. Second place, Bailey
Riding
Stouffer with
Dixie
Ginger.
with
Third place,
James
Addison
Bond on her back.
with Banjo. Fourth place, Molly Stewart
She's
with Disney.
rider number
Fifth place,
007,
Jennifer
Bond,
with
James
Dixie.
Bond. Should have that dun 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 dun. And she's going, and Caniff not too sure about wanting to do this. Little extra kicks in her motion there. Clears the left barrel. Looking to get a clean time out of it. Even if Caniff isn't real, or this is Dixie, I'm sorry. Even if Dixie isn't real thrilled about doing it.
Alexis's time is 22.791.
22.791. That's currently our second place time.
Anna, you are in the hole.
Kaylee Schleyer is our next rider.
James Bond. Sean Connery or the other guy?
Oh.
The new guy or Sean?
Connery. Connery. No two ways about it. But I'm showing my age. Okay, Kaylee Schleyer. And she knocks over that second barrel. So she will get a no time. That's going to bring up Layla Cleveland as our next rider. Layla Cleveland, once they get the barrel set up right.
Will be us, Anna on deck, and Kira in the hole. Then Ainsley, Emily on Sparks, Addison, Jensen.
We will see Emily Severson again in this round on a different horse. She rode Chip on the first run, and she's going to ride Sparks on her second run. That's going to come in between the two Olsen girls, between Ainsley and Addison, so that the Olsen girls can swap their helmet.
Yeah, the horse community learns to share.
Even if they are sisters. So anyway, we have Layla Cleveland on board Ms. Bonanza Breeze. Clears the first two barrels very nicely. Around the top barrel, nudges it, but it stays up. She congratulates the horse with a couple taps on the neck.
Sorry, Layla, that would be a DQ for hitting your horse.
And she's going to get disqualified for the tapping the horse on the neck as they came down the home stretch.
DQ for hitting your horse in front of the saddle.
She should have waited till she got out of the arena to say nice job. Anyway, that's going to bring us Anna Weiss, or Anna Woods, I'm sorry. Anna Woods on Holly. Here comes Anna. Anna doing a few warm-up laps. And she goes around that right barrel. Now back across to the left barrel. And up to the top barrel. Clean run for Anna. No neck slaps for Anna.
Your time, Anna, was 19.031.
19.031. That will put Anna into second place. Brings up Kira Prochnow. And she's on board Loudy. Still looking to beat that time of roughly 16.7. And here goes Kira. Getting warmed up. Ainsley Olsen is on deck. Kira off and running. Clears the first barrel, goes around the left-hand side. And around the top barrel, coming back down, looking for a good time, looking to beat that 16.7. Kira Prochnow's time. And she does. 15.842, and there is your new leader, Kira Prochnow. On board Loudy. Addison Olsen on Bubs is our next rider. Waiting for Addison. She needs a lead into the arena.
It's going to be
Ainsley. I'm sorry, I said Addison, didn't I? Well, I'll hear about that later. Ainsley. Takes Bubs around that right-hand barrel. Now to take Bubs around the left-hand barrel. She does that cleanly. Ainsley's had some rotten luck in the first two events, got no time. She's looking to maybe get a time, get over there. She wants to get a clean time at least, and she does. Now heads Bubs off towards the home stretch. And she should have a good time. Any clean time is a good time. That's what you were telling me, right, Dan?
Clean time, start there and let the timer do the rest.
Let's see, the judge is coming over. Maybe there's an issue with the way she approached that top barrel. She's got the rule book.
Oh, they're just looking at the run before. About the
the neck slap?
Yeah.
And so that's what they're discussing over at the scores table, or at the scores booth. So we're still waiting to hear Ainsley's time.
Andrew's time, 32.973.
32.973, but she got a time. That's the critical thing. 32.973. Emily Severson coming up next on Sparks.
Stop all forward motion once you get in, otherwise it's considered running the gate. Okay, Emily, you are up on Sparks. Addison, you are on deck.
Emily Severson on board Sparks is our next rider. She's getting ready to come into the arena, and she is in. And here goes Emily. Round that left barrel. And now she's coming back around the right barrel.
You drink it on the way home?
And back up to the top barrel. And she completes a clean run.
Emily's time, 26.978.
26.978. That brings up Addison Olson on board Adira. And here comes Addison on Adira, coming into the gate area and into the arena. And off they go. Around the right barrel, it stays up. She got fortunate that time, it stayed up. Around the left barrel, now up around the top barrel. Addison looking to get a really good time here, looking to get up in those top three. A clean run.
Addison's time is 16.547.
16.547. That puts her into second place.
Jasmine, you are in the hole.
Addison Olson moves into second place. And I didn't hear who they said was next. Jensen Beebe. Basil. You're right. Of course.
I've seen these girls a few times.
I have, well, and I have too. It's just that I'm looking at handwritten things and it somehow looks different.
Yeah.
That's the excuse we'll use. Jensen Basil goes around the left barrel first. Then back around the right barrel. Up to the top. And back down that home stretch. Good time for Jensen.
Jensen's time, 17.660.
17.660. Just out of the top three. Lydia Leach on Dusty Ace. Or Dusted Ace. Or is that Dust Up Ace? It's hard to tell here.
Dust of Ace.
Dust of Ace. There we go. See, it's not just an excuse.
That's it.
Lydia Leach. Around that left barrel, coming around the right barrel. She cleared that one. Now up to the top barrel. Coming down that home stretch. Good clean time for Lydia. 16.725. Just a tenth of a second out of the top three. So we have Jasmine Best is the next one up. And here goes Jasmine. She's on board Dixie. The second time Dixie's run. Either that or it's a different horse with the same name. And around that top barrel. A clean run. 19.461. And we have a Maya, or no, it's Emily. Emily Anderson is the next rider. And I don't have a horse's name for Emily. I don't even have last names for Maya or Allison either. So, this is Emily Anderson. I'll come back around the right side. Around the top barrel. Ooh, almost faltered into the barrel.
Your time, 17.259. Maya, you are up, and then Allison will finish off the class.
So that brings up Maya. 17.259 was Emily's time. So that brings up Maya. She gets around the right-hand barrel and around the left-hand barrel, making really good time. Here she comes. This could be a very good time. Could put her in the top 3.
Time 17.473.
17.473 keeps her just out of the top 3. And Allison is the next one up. I didn't know this was a cash event. I had a little money fall out of her pocket on the way through.
It's just raining money out there.
And Allison is off and going. Takes that left barrel. Now around the right barrel, there goes the hat. And as she tried to grab it as it was going, she ended up going real wide around that right-hand barrel. Pretty wide around the top barrel as well. She's going to get the 1 second penalty.
Your time with a +1 is
Her belt almost came off. She was having all kinds of troubles there, Dan.
Got a little out of control there.
22.434 with the penalty. So that finishes that class in the barrels. And in third place, Emily Severson on board Chip. In second place, Addison Olson on board Adira. And in first place with a time of 15.842 on board Loudy was Kira Prochnow. They're going to drag the arena as we get ready for the 18 to 34-year-old age group. And while they do, we'll take a brief time out. You're watching Open Equestrian Games from Wild Bill Saddle Club on NLWN-TV.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
We are back at Wild Bill Saddle Club, just outside Elk Mound with Open Equestrian Games, getting ready for the 18 to 34-year-old barrels. Alexis Backus, Ariel Backus on board Bo is going to be our first rider of this age group. And here she comes. This is Ariel. And gets Bo turned around and turned around again. Bo is doing a ballet dance out there right now. It's a little sideways. Ariel trying to get things going. And Bo says, wait a minute, that's the gate? I just came in through that gate. I want to go back out.
Try to get him all lined up here.
He doesn't want to go down towards those barrels. Bo is not real thrilled about this whole operation right now. What can a rider do in this situation, Dan?
Slow down, pet him a little bit, get him to relax. When you feel it, then move forward. There we go.
And now they're off and going. And that hand in front on the neck would not have been a foul there because she wouldn't have started the timeline.
Right, yep.
And through the top barrel. Once Bo got going, he wasn't too bad. Looking for a time here for Ariel Backus. 21.985 is Ariel's time. That brings up Kelsey Hines on board Story. Waiting for Kelsey to come into the gate area. And here they go. This is the 18 to 34-year-old age group. Kelsey Hines nudges that first barrel, the right-hand barrel, but it stays upright. And around the second barrel, nudges it, but it stays upright. That's called being close to the barrel. And around the top barrel, so far, Story didn't want to go around that top barrel. Then she finally coaxed it around. And coming down. Looks like she's going to get a time. 28.424 is her time. Currently puts her in second place. Alexis Kwok on Diamond is our next rider. They've had some good runs today. Here goes Alexis and Diamond. And there they go. Quickly around that right-hand barrel. They look like they ride together a lot. Around the left-hand barrel. You know, they do say Diamond is a girl's best friend. And then around that top barrel. And heading back down the home stretch. Alexis Kwok on Diamond. Clean run, looking for a time. 15.773 or 16.773. That's your new leader. And Memphis Cleveland is our next rider. Memphis is coming into the arena. And they make a circle around. Memphis gets around that left-hand barrel. Now over to the right-hand barrel. Good and tight around that right-hand barrel. They look good together too. Coming home, nice clean run for Memphis Cleveland. 15.878, that is your new leader. Memphis Cleveland moves into first place. And Allie Riley, I think is what I heard her last name. Or is it Allie aboard Riley? I'm not sure.
Oh, Allie Lehman.
Oh, it's Allie Lehman, okay. Riding Star. And Allie is heading down to the right-hand barrel. Now going over to the left-hand barrel. There we go. For a minute there, it looked like Star wanted to go the wrong way around that barrel, but part of that's our perspective. And now the top barrel. They clear that top barrel and head on home. And a nice clean run for Allie Lehman. And her cheering contingent is right behind us. 28.612. That finishes up the 18 to 34-year-old age group. Third place on board Bo is Ariel Backus. Second place on board Diamond is Alexis Kwok. And in first place with a time of 15.878 on board Sky is Memphis Cleveland. That brings us to Barrels 35 to 49. Terry Schleyer. Terry Schleyer is our next rider. He will be on board shotgun. As he enters the arena. Nice and easy. And he's off and running, takes that right-hand barrel first. Clears that cleanly. Around the left-hand barrel. He was a thing to watch in the pole weaving. Body was very straight, the horse just weaving back and forth underneath him. Nice clean run here, heading down the home stretch. Terry Schleyer with a good time. Let's wait and see what it is. I think they said 17.983. So Dawn Wickman, you are the next one up. She's on Wilbur. She's coming into the gate area. Dawn won the keyhole race in this event just a little while ago. She makes that right-hand barrel, heading over to the left. It's the left barrel, now up to the top. Everything looking clean so far. Nice tight turn on that top barrel, and Dawn's heading down the home stretch. 16.781, that's your new leader. Carrie Best is our next rider. Carrie Best. Coming into the arena. And now she's in. Circling to get ready. Little bit of faltering by Dandy. It's the name of the horse as they head down towards that right-hand barrel. Get around it okay. Now taking their time going around the left-hand barrel. Now up to the third barrel. Makes it cleanly and the horse stumbles, but everybody stays upright, including the barrels. She reaches back, pats the horse on the rear end, saying it's okay. And that might, she did reach up and pat the horse on the neck. I understand why after that stumble. Let's see if they get a time.
Carrie's time,
41.859. So the 35 to 49-year-old age group finishes with Carrie Best in third place on Dandy. Second place went to Terry Schleyer on Shotgun. First place to Dawn Wickman on Wilbur with a time of 16.781. Cindy Weir in the 50 and over. Wimpy's Little Rough Sarah is the name of the horse. Wimpy's Little Rough Sarah. Cindy Weir. She clears that first barrel. Makes the left-hand barrel. And up around the top and back down the home stretch. Good clean time for Cindy Weir. And wait on Cindy's time.
All right, lovely ring crew, we need to set up for.
Let's see if they give us Cindy's time. 16.361 was Cindy Weir's time. And that concludes the barrels. They're going to drag the arena before the jumping figure eight. And so we're going to take a timeout while they do that. You're watching Open Equestrian Games from Wild Bill Saddle Club on NLWN-TV.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
And welcome back to Wild Bill's Saddle Club, just outside Elk Mound, Wisconsin. We have equestrian events, and let's see here. We have the jumping figure eights, and in this event, they have to go down the arena, jump over a bar, then weave back and forth through the barrels at the far end and come back over, negotiate that bar one more time, and that's how they do the jumping figure eights. And we'll start with that 8 to 10-year-old age group, or 10 and under. And it's Emerson Stacy on board. Remy will be the first rider. And here comes Emerson. And we're back out into the arena. There she is. And she's off and running and kicks the bar off, so it is going to be a no time for Emerson. She's weaving the barrels nicely. And coming back down. And it's on no time for Emerson. Autumn Brixon on Shooter is our next rider. So here is Autumn. Taking her time and knocks the barrel off. So unfortunately it will be a no time for Autumn as well. I thought I heard a third name, which is, we only have 2 on our sheet here, but we'll have to see if there is a third person in this age group. That's the toughest part about this course, is it's not a big jump, but that bar is just enough that the horse's hoof will clip the bar, and that flexible PVC bar kind of springs around and bounces off. And so it's a no time for Autumn. So that does finish the 10 and under, and there is no winner there because neither one had a time. Bailey Schaefer is up on board Ginger. Jumping figure eights, 11 to 13-year-old. Again, taking her time. Some of the riders really take their time to get the horse to negotiate that bar. And a lot of horses, like Ginger is doing here, falter at the bar and really aren't too thrilled about doing it. Trying to get Ginger to step over the bar. And right idea, the hooves got in the way. Knocks the bar off, so it'll be a no time for Bailey Stouffer. I may have called her Bailey Schaefer earlier, but it's Bailey Stouffer. one of the things I like about these riders in the equestrian events is that even if they, early in the event, they see it's a no time, they will still finish the run, if for nothing else, to train the horse what it is that it needs to do. So Bailey Stouffer with a no time. And Dan just got done doing double duty and running back and forth, printing off all the sheets as Bailey's still trying to get Ginger to go across that bar, and Ginger's not liking the idea. Horses get spooked by the strangest things.
They do.
There, she got Ginger to cross the bar that time. And
All right, Megan.
so now we have Megan Gartner on Jazzy.
Addison on deck, Blake in the hole. Then Joseph and Carter, you will finish off this class. And then we'll be moving to jumping figure 8, 14 to 17. I have
So waiting for Megan Gartner, then Addison Owens.
Emily on Sparks. Then
Megan will be riding Jazzy. Here she comes into the gate area. And now into the arena. Let's see how Jazzy likes the bar. Not any better than any of the others. And knocked over the center barrel. What the heck? If you're going to knock something down, make it worthwhile. That's what my old football coach used to say. If you're going to jump off sides, make it worth something. But again, she is still finishing the pattern just to train the horse. And a no time for Megan. That brings up Addison Owens on banjo. Addison Owens. Still have not had a successful run in the jumping figure 8. And here comes Addie. And Dan, that's one of the reasons I really like this event, because it is a great challenge for the riders to complete an entire run. There is so much that has to happen, and so many of the things are different between jumping and weaving back and forth and knocking over things.
And then you put a time on the end of that.
Yeah, and you have the pressure of time.
Wait, Addie.
And they're still waiting for the arena fixing up person to get out of the way so that nothing is going to freak out the horse or get run over. We wouldn't want that to happen. And of course, as that person got down to her chair, it would have triggered the timer. So they had to reset the timer. So here goes Addie. And again, banjo. None of the horses have successfully negotiated that bar on the first time over. So Blake Bader will be the next one up. He'll be the first person with a chance to do it.
All right, after we set the jump, Blake, you will be up. Joseph.
Yeah, the arena crew is going to get some work here this afternoon.
That's the way it's looking.
Final rider for 11 to 13, and then we'll be starting with Ainsley, Emily on Sparks, Alexis, Kaylee, Layla.
Okay, the bar is set. And in comes Blake. Blake Bader on board Dolly. Coming into the gate area. Coming through. Cleared the bar. Now, Dad, I have a question for you about his entrance. As he came straight through, he wasn't charging the gate or anything like that. But was that technically running the gate? He missed a weave there at that middle pole or middle barrel as well, didn't he?
Yep.
And now we have a real broken pattern because...
Yeah, in the WSCA, you're supposed to have, you have to stop forward movement when you come into the arena.
And he did not do that, so I think he would have gotten the running the gate. He cleared the bar both times, which is, that's a first for the day, but... So, Joe, I'm sorry, Joe. You're just going to be Joe. You're just Joe. Let's see you successfully complete this.
Joseph Mazinski.
Yes, Mazinski. There we go. My eyes and my mouth did not want to cooperate with each other. And here goes Joe. Clears the bar. Goes around the first barrel, around the second barrel. Back around that middle barrel again, over to the other side. Good looking weave. Around the middle barrel, heading back down. Let's see if we have our first clean time. Clears the bar. We have a clean time for Joe Mazinski. 20.293. It's the best time of the day. Carter Brixon is the next rider. Carter coming in. And he's in the arena. He's on Joker. And Joker taps the bar and it comes down. That means in the 11 to 13-year-old age group, as Carter finishes his run, first place is going to be to Joseph Mazinski on board Rex with a time of 20.293. So far, it's the only clean time of the day in the jumping figure eights. And here comes Carter down finishing his run. That is going to bring us to the 17 to 49-year-old age group. Or 14 to 17, that's what I meant to say. 14 to 17-year-old Emily Severson is scheduled to be the first one up.
Jumping figure 8, 14 to 17, Ainsley.
No, we got Ainsley coming up first because of the helmet switch. She's riding Bubs. Ainsley Olsen is the first one up. And hopefully she'll get a clean time, although, again, talking to Addison, Bubs has never run this, and she's
Hey, you got to start something.
very optimistic, let's put it that way, about this. Keeping their fingers crossed. Ainsley's got her moving, or got him moving, I should say. Heading toward the bar. And it stayed up. That's the luck of Ainsley. And around the barrel. And around that left side barrel, now heading back over to the right, weaving her way over. Clears the right barrel. You know, you get a clean time, you never know, you could win the darn thing.
That's right.
Now coming back down, looking to clear the bar, and doesn't even go through the bar, and probably has a broken pattern. In fact, broke the timer. So we have a broken pattern for Ainsley on a very promising run. Now we have Emily Severson riding Sparks. Emily Severson coming into the arena on board Sparks. Taking her time, going towards the bar, cleanly jumps the bar. Now heading down to weave the barrels. This is where the figure 8 part comes in. Each of the barrels, each pair of barrels ends up like a figure 8, only there's 2 pair of barrels. And they share the center barrel. If any of that made any sense at all. But anyway, she gets through them all okay. And now one more time over this bar. And there we go, a clean time for Emily Severson.
Emily's time,
32.103 for Emily Severson. Alexis Caniff on Dixie with her James Bond number.
007.
And Alexis over the bar. To the center barrel, begins the weave. Weaves over to the right-hand side this time. Now back across to the left. And back to the right, into the middle. Over the bar, yes. And a clean time for Alexis. 25.712. That's our new leader. So we have Kaylee Schleyer riding Amber as our next rider. 2 clean times in a row. It's a trend-setting thing happening here. Kaylee Schleyer. Whoa, just barely cleared that bar, but didn't even tick it. That's usually done with work with the horse, isn't it?
Very fine-tuned right there.
Nice job on the weave. Nice tight around the barrels at the top end. Coming back down. Clears the bar. A good clean time. Could be taking the lead on this.
Haley, your time, 21.367.
21.367. That is our new leader. So Kaylee Schleyer on top. Layla Cleveland is our next rider. Layla, her horse kind of prancing, not wanting to come in. There she's in, or he's in. On board Ms. Bonanza Breeze. Ms. Bonanza Breeze. And off they go. Cleared the bar very cleanly. Heading down for the weave now. You know what, Dan? That sun came out, and it's actually starting to get pretty toasty out here.
The heat, the humidity, summertime.
Storms tonight.
Summertime. Love it.
Coming back down for the final clear of the bar, and she got it. A nice run for Layla.
Layla's time, 20.355.
And that's our new leader with 20.355 first place. Kira Prochnow. And Kira has had a good day today so far on Loudy. And she's off and running. Starts the weave. That first bar was cleared nicely and knocked over the barrel on the left end. So it'll be a no time for Kira. The rest of the run was really nice and clean with a good time heading her way. That's going to bring up Addison Olson on board Adira. So Addison Olson waiting for her to come in. Oh, and Addison is waiting for the arena official to get the barrel set. As we are waiting. Addison right there in the gate area, kind of halfway in the arena. Waiting for the crew to get set. Of course, then they have to restop the clock. And now Addison's off and going. Nice jump by Adira over the bar. Addison goes to the left on her first weave and does well, comes back around to the right. Gets to the center, just has to clear the bar again. Tipped the bar, but it stayed on board. She's going to have a clean time. Addison Olsen on a Dira.
Addison's time is 19.6.
That's your new leader, Addison Olsen on a Dira with a 19.648. So, Lydia, can you make that out?
Lydia Leach.
Lydia Leach. Lydia Leach is up. And they clear it. Dust of Ace is the horse. Dust of Ace didn't really necessarily want to, but she got it straightened out and cleared the bar. Does a nice weave up at the top. Well, it was a nice weave until Dust of Ace didn't want to do that. On the left side, coming back around the center barrel now. And now back down, Dust of Ace kicks the stanchion and the bar off, so a no time for Dust of Ace. That's going to bring up Jensen Basil.
Jensen, you will be up, and then Emily Anderson, Maya, and Allison.
So Jensen Basil, then Emily Anderson right after her. Jensen is on Candy.
Okay, Jensen, we're ready.
And here goes Jensen. And over the bar. She begins her weave going to the left the first time. And now back across to the right. Very nice and clean for Jensen. Round that center barrel, coming back, looking for a really good time here. Clears the bar, tips the bar, and it stayed on. So a clean time for Jensen. And Jensen kind of smiling like, yeah, I know it got away one. 19.468. That moves Jensen into first place. So Emily Anderson on Monty is our next rider. Emily Anderson on Monty. And now they're off and running. Clears the bar. Weaves to the left. Now back to the right. Tips the right end barrel, but it stayed up. Round the center and coming down the home stretch. Clears the bar. Good time for Emily Anderson.
Time for Emily, 20.671.
20.671. That may put her, no, just out of third place by about 3/10 of a second, or 3/10 of a second. So Maya Smith, you are the next one up. Here comes Maya. She gets turned and off she goes. Clears the bar with room to spare. She weaves to the right the first time. Now coming back across to the left. And back to the middle, back down the home stretch. Clears the bar and a clean time for Maya Smith.
19.736.
19.736.
Allison, then we will
And that will put her into third place. And Allison Bergman on Shasta is our next rider. Allison gets guided into the arena. And Shasta says, hey, I'm going that way, and I'm almost not going to go that way. And Allison almost took a spill. And Shasta is definitely getting a broken pattern on this. Shasta got a little excited and not sure what exactly he was supposed to do there. So it's going to be an O time. That brings us to the end of the 14 to 17-year-old age group. Third place goes to Maya Smith on board Bailey. Second place to Addison Olson on Adira. And in first place with a time of 19.468 is Jensen Basil on board Cindy. In fact, if you look at that second and third, or first and second place times, they're exactly the same digits. They just switched around the tenths and hundredths place. So it's about 0.2 of a second difference between first and second place. Some pretty good competition considering there are a lot of people that didn't even make it through the course so far.
Yeah, the older age groups got it a little more together. And
well, it's that experience factor.
Experience is always important.
And she's going to finish.
Just doing a little practice.
Yeah, she's going to get her run in. Allison is. And they are going to drag the arena. So while Allison finishes this for practice and they get the arena dragged, why don't we take this time out? You're watching Open Equestrian Games from Wild Bill Saddle Club in Elk Mound, Wisconsin on NLWN-TV.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
And welcome back to Wild Bill Saddle Club, just outside of Elk Mound, Wisconsin. Open Equestrian Games. We're still in the middle of the jumping figure eights. We now have the 18 to 34-year-old riders. We'll start with Ariel Backus, and then Kelsey Hines will be on deck. Ariel is riding Bo. And they are now into the arena. Ariel and Bo head on down towards that bar, and the bar goes down. So it will be a no time for Ariel Backus. And a little loss of dignity there.
Dust herself off.
And walk the horse back. And I have no doubt that she will follow the old adage of get back on that horse that threw you. But not till the next event.
Yep.
She's got a little limp going on right now, too, so
Just
you have to walk things out a little bit.
She says she's okay. So.
And that's always good to see. That's not always the case when someone comes off a horse. Is that correct there, Dan?
We had that happen a couple weeks ago.
Yes, with someone very near and dear to you.
Yeah, my wife.
She's in a brace. She's got surgery coming up.
You know,
she tried to put Adrian Peterson to shame with his knee injury.
Yeah. It wasn't very exciting. She just stepped off, and that was it. But she'll be back on. Well, she's already been back on. I probably shouldn't even say that.
Don't say that. Okay, Kelsey Hines is up. Clears the bar. Kelsey is on Story. Weaves to the right the first part. Now working her way back to the left. Now back to the middle. And now over the bar one more time. Clears the bar. We have a good time for Kelsey Hines.
Kelsey's time,
23.312. That's the time to beat so far. Alexis
Quack.
Quack.
Yep. This would be
Alexis Quack is coming up on Diamond. Alexis has had some good runs today. 18 to 34-year-olds.
Nine squares left, for the big right card for the feed. Come on, people, $1 an entry.
Alexa makes the turn, or Alexis. And off we go. Clears the bar nicely. She's going to weave to the left to start off with. Now working her way back to the right. And back down. And clears the bar. Good time for Alexis.
Alexis's time,
19.526. I think that's a 9 you have there, isn't it? Yes.
Yep.
And that's our new leader, is Alexis Quack.
good run there.
And Memphis Cleveland is our next rider. Here comes Memphis into the arena. And she gets things turned around and off and running. Tips the bar, and down comes the bar. Alexis will finish up her run, but it's a no time. And like I said, a no time for Memphis Cleveland. So on board will be Allie Lehman on Star as soon as they get the bar replaced. Allie waiting for her chance to enter. And they have the bar fixed. And here goes Allie. And she clears the bar even though the front hoof tipped it, but it stayed on. So now she begins her weave. She gets a clean run, she places. Weaving back to the right. And now back to that center barrel again. And she clears the center barrel. She's going to end up with a third place time. We'll find out what that is.
Thanks for jumping figure 8, 18 to 34. Allie's time was 44.7009.
44.709 for Allie Lehman. She ends up in third place. Second place went to Kelsey Hines, and first place to Alexis Quack on Diamond with a time of 19.526. That brings us to the speed dash. And evidently we have the 35 to 49-year-olds, but I don't have that sheet. But let's see if Dan has that buried in his sheets here. Here we go, some jumping figure 8s down here. Here we are. We have Terry Schleyer on shotgun. for the 35 to 49-year-old age group. He clears the barrel, or the bar, I should say. Now he's doing his weave off to the left. Gets it around, coming back to the right. Oh, that left barrel almost went over. Cleared the right barrel. Got back around the center barrel, and here he comes towards the bar, looking to get a good time and a clean run. He does.
Terry's time, 20.275.
20.275 is Terry's time. That's the time to beat by Dawn Wickman. So far in the events today, she's been able to do that to his times. He sets the stage with a pretty good time, and she goes out and nips it by a few tenths. So let's see if she does that again. This is actually, with only 2 people in this class, it's actually been pretty interesting competition. There may be a third person in this class. Anyway, here comes Dawn. Clears the bar cleanly and good speed. Weaves to the left to start with. Going back to the right. Now back to the center. All she's got to do is clear this bar. And she does. Clean run for Dawn. And again, by about half a second, 20.216. Actually, it's less than that. It was by 6/100ths of a second. Dawn wins that. Terry Schleyer takes second place in the 35 to 49-year-old age group, and now Cindy Weir in the 50 and over age group will be coming up. Then we'll be getting ready for the speed dash. So here comes Cindy. Cindy on Wimpy's little rough something. She cleared the bar, is weaving to the right, coming back to the left. Now back to the center bar. Center barrel, heading back to the bar now. Maybe back to the bar is where I need to be heading. And she got a good clean time. 21.388, and of course that means Cindy does win that age group. So that's going to bring up the speed dash in just a minute. We'll have the 10 and under, and we'll have that right after this brief timeout. You're watching Open Equestrian Games on NLWN-TV.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
And welcome back to Wild Bill Saddle Club just outside Elk Mound, Wisconsin. We have Open Equestrian Games here on NLWN-TV, and we're starting to wind things down a little bit with the speed dash, and this one's about as simple as they get, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, the object of this game is to go down around the far barrel. There's one barrel out there, and you turn around, come back, fastest time wins.
And that, it doesn't get much easier. This is all-out speed on this one. And, of course, you don't want to knock over the barrel at the far end. And one of the things I noticed last week is sometimes staying really close to the barrel is not your friend. If you can maintain speed as you go around the barrel, going a little wider doesn't hurt.
Yeah, good smooth turn.
And we are off with Emerson Stacy in the 10 and under group. And she comes down, nice tight turn. But if you noticed, as Emerson got down to the far end, how much she had to take time off. 9.751 is the time to beat so far in this age group. Autumn Brixon. Here comes Autumn. And Autumn getting turned in the right direction. And here she goes. Turns around the far end and brings it on back. And shooter didn't quite want to go back across that start finish line, but finally got there. We'll see what kind of time that was. 21.850, so Autumn ends up in second place. Emerson Stacy on board. Remy wins with a time of 9.751. That brings us to the 11 to 13-year-olds. And Bailey Stoffer on Ginger is there. Bailey's the first one up. And then Sienna will be after Bailey, and Bailey is heading down. Bailey Stouffer takes it around the barrel, coming back. Looking for Bailey's time. Remember, this event is all about speed. 10.958, a good starting time for this age group. Sienna Pinder on Nancy is our next rider. As Sienna enters the arena. She gets down around the barrel and coming back the other way.
Time for Sienna,
13.220 for Sienna Pinder. Megan Gartner on Jazzy is our next rider. Looking to beat that time of, well, just about 11 seconds. Megan Gartner on Jazzy. One of the dangers of taking these loops that they do to warm up is getting out across that timing line.
Yeah, you gotta watch where the timer is.
So Megan gets around the barrel, coming back. Tucks her head down to keep the hat on. Gets a clean time. 10.147. That is our new leader. That brings up Addison Owens on banjo. Addison Owens on banjo coming in. And off they go. Banjo goes pretty wide. Addison gives a little kick in the flanks to get Banjo going back the way it needs to go. 11.436. That'll put her into third place. That brings up Blake Bader on Dolly.
Kylie, Layla, and Kira.
So we have Blake Bader. I think that's what that is.
Yep.
On Dolly. He's getting ready, and off he goes. He's going around the barrel the other way. Doesn't matter. Now coming back. And comes in. And see what Blake's time is.
Time, 11.408.
11.408.
Molly, you are in the hole and are
That is enough to move him into third place. Still looking to beat that time of 11.1 and some change. Joe is out and running. Joe Muzinski, and he knocked over the barrel at the end, so we're going to get a no time for Joe. That's going to bring up Carter Brixon on Joker. It's unfortunate because Joe had a good time going too.
Yep, just caught it with his knee. Trying to cut it a little short. Shave off a half second or so and...
Carter, you are up, wait. Wait till she crosses the time line again.
And now we're ready for Carter Brixon on Joker. Boy, it's torture sitting here, Dan, because that concession stand is right behind us. They keep cooking good smelling food, and I keep getting whiffs of it. And, oh, my goodness. All right, here goes Carter.
Nothing better than concession stand food.
I'll tell you. They've got good food here at Wild Bill's. They had good food last week over at Bit and Spur. And by the way, we're going to be at Bit and Spur again next week. So a week from tonight, you can watch more open equestrian games from Bit and Spur. Carter's run is clean.
Time for Carter, 14.372.
14.372. Molly Stewart is our next rider on Bitsy. Molly is on Bitsy. Molly into the arena. And here we go. Nice turn at the far end. And Bitsy wasn't quite sure exactly what Molly wanted her to do. Back down, but it is a clean run. 12.497 for Molly. So the 11 to 13-year-olds, third place went to Blake Vader on Dolly. And then second place went to Bailey Stouffer on Ginger. And first place with a time of 10.147 to Megan Gartner on Jazzy. That brings us to the 14 to 17-year-old age group. It's going to start with Ainsley Olsen on Bubs. Ainsley Olsen on Bubs. She will start it. Then we'll have Emily Severson on Chip and Kaylee Schaefer on Amber.
Our first rider is Ainsley Olsen. You are up. Emily Severson on Chip. You are on deck.
Okay, Ainsley Olsen is up.
Slayer, you are in the pool.
All right, here comes Ainsley Olsen into the arena. And she's trying to get Bub going. Bub says, wait a minute, it's a warm, sunny day. I don't know that I really want to run here. And so Ainsley's trying to say, come on, Bub, get a move on. Ainsley has never done anything slow in her life, so this is going to be torture for her. Now Bub is moving. She gets a clean run anyway.
Alright, your time,
19.415 for Ainsley. Emily Severson on Chip is our next rider. So here comes Emily. I think she's changed shirts again. This is like third different shirt she's worn. And around the barrel she comes. This is a good example of going wide but keeping your speed up right there. Let's see what she gets with the time with Chip.
10.325.
10.325. Sets a good table. puts her currently in first place. Kylie Schleyer on Amber is our next rider. This going a little wider is what I get from us covering the stock car races out at Eagle Valley Speedway, which fans, by the way, next Monday night you can watch races from Eagle Valley Speedway. That'll be on at 6 o'clock, followed next Tuesday by more equestrian games from Bit and Spur. And this is Kaylee Schleyer. Kaylee looking for a good time. She's trying to get everything she can out of Amber. 10.638. That will put her in second place. Layla Cleveland on Ms. Bonanza Breeze. Leia Cleveland into the arena. Ms. Bonanza Breeze, she got her settled down. Gets her turned, trying to get her going, and off she goes. And knocked over the barrel at the far end. Unfortunately, it's going to be a no time for Layla. Layla Cleveland with a no time for knocking over the barrel. Kira Prochnow on Loudy will be our next rider. And that'll be after the barrel official gets the barrel set up and back to her seat. Of course, they have to wait till she's back to her seat, simply because...
Nope, she's going to stay over there this time. She's going to park over there.
I suspect she'll probably climb through the fence and stay over on the far side.
All right, Kira, you are up.
And she's not even going to climb through the fence. She's just going to stand by the fence way over there. And waiting for Kira to come in. Here she comes. Now the circling counts as stopping the forward motion, doesn't it?
Right. Yep, circling is okay.
Here goes Kira. Kira's had very good runs today. Clears that barrel nicely and heading back down, looking for a really good time. Wants to take the lead, looking to beat that 10.3. There's your new leader. 9.022 is the time for Kira. She is now the leader in the 14 to 17-year-old age group. Addison Olson is our next rider. Here comes Addison into the arena. On board Adira. And here they go. Adira gets around the barrel, working hard to get a good time. Let's see what she's got. I don't think it's going to beat Kira's, but waiting on the time. I could be wrong. 9.740. That does put her into second place. 9.740 for Addison. Emily Severson on Sparks. Emily is currently the third place rider on Chip. And here she comes back down. Good clean time. 11.901. That brings up Lydia Leach on Dust of Ace. Lydia Leach on Dust of Ace is our next rider in this 14 to 17-year-old age group. Lydia into the arena. Down goes Lydia, around the bend and back. Let's see what we get for a time for Lydia. It's a good run. 9.418. I believe that will put her into second place. So Jensen Basil on Candy is our next rider. Jensen gets around the corner and coming back. Looking to beat that time of 9.0.
Time, 9.541.
9.541. That puts her into third place. Jasmine Best is the next one up. And Jasmine's off and riding. Takes a wide turn going into the barrel. Now coming back. And she 11.574. Jasmine, to the best I can see, is the third Colfax Viking basketball player riding in this event.
Got some good athletes
between those two Olsen girls and Jasmine Best. That's a good chunk of the basketball team right there. All right, coming in now is Emily Anderson on Monty. And down around the end. And coming back. Again, looking to beat that time of 9 flat.
Time, 9.663.
9.663. That's not enough to get her into the top 3. It does put her in the top 4. Maya Smith on Bailey is our next rider. And she's about to go around the barrel. Maya Smith on Bailey. Here she comes, looking for a good time. Waiting to hear what it is. 10.063. Brings up Alexis Kenneth on Dixie. It says on our sheet she's number 7, but we know better. She's got that bond number on her back, 007. Her real name is Moneypenny.
Right.
And off she goes.
Oh, yeah. Got her riding a little paint horse.
Who knows what secret things Q put in that. She got a good clean time. 13.536. And Allison Bergman. Or, yeah, Bergman. On board Shasta is our next rider. Allison gets led into the arena. Gets Shasta kind of pointed in the right direction. but on the wrong side of the arena, so they'll take the diagonal route. And around the barrel and coming back. It's a clean run. Not really the straightest run I've seen, but it was a clean run.
Time is 10.955.
10.955. You know, that was pretty good speed considering the course that she took. And that brings an end to the 14 to 17-year-olds. Taking third place on board Candy was Jensen Basil. Second place was Lydia Leach on Dust of Ace. And first place with a time of 9.022 is Kira Prochnow on Loudy. That's going to bring us to the Speed Dash 18 to 34-year-old age group. Ariel Backus will be the first one up on Bow. Then Kelsey Hines on Story. And then Alexis Quack on Diamond. Memphis Cleveland on Sky. And Allie Lehman on Star. Or that's Stars, I'm sorry. S-T-A-R-Z. So this will be the Speed Dash. 18 to 34. They moved the barrel over to get it into some cleaner sand. So Ariel Backus is the first one up on board Bow. She's getting ready to come into the gate area. And she's in the arena. Gets things turned around and off she goes. Around the barrel. Coming back down for score. And it's a clean time for Ariel. 10.417. Kelsey Hines is the next one up. Kelsey's riding Story. Waiting for Kelsey to enter that gate area. Here she comes. And now into the arena, and off she goes. Around the barrel. And back down the home stretch. See what kind of a time Kelsey gets. 11.612. That'll, for the time being, put her in second place. So Alexis Quack on board Diamond is our next rider. Here comes Alexis. She's in the arena. Alexis has had some real good runs today. Getting Diamond ready to go. They do appear to like to run together. And she's off and running. Diamond goes around that barrel and heading back. Trying to take the lead is Alexis Quack. And that's your new leader. Time of 9.428. So Memphis Cleveland, you're the next one up. And then Allie Lehman. And Memphis Cleveland getting ready to go. This has been a horse that's really liked running. Just had a little bit of bad luck a couple times.
Yeah, this is a good paint horse here.
And around the barrel and coming back. Good time coming. Looking to beat 9.4. Let's see what Memphis has for a time. There's a new leader, 9.110. And that brings up Allie Lehman as the final rider in this age group, 18 to 34. And she goes down around the barrel. And coming back, crosses the finish line, waiting for Allie's time.
Time 15.627.
15.627 for Allie Lehman. And so that finishes up that 18 to 34 age group. Third place, Ariel Backus on bow. Second place, Alexis Quack on diamond. And first place on sky with a time of 9.110 is Memphis Cleveland. That's going to bring us to the 35 to 49-year-old age group in the speed dash. Then we'll have the 50-plus age group, and then we have the ribbon race. And when we get to the ribbon race, I'll let Dan explain that to you.
That's always a fun event. There's lots of different events out here that maybe sometime we'll get to cover.
All right, Terry Schleyer on shotgun. And coming back, good clean run for Terry. Boy, that shotgun's a pretty looking horse.
Series time 10.096.
10.096.
You are up. Carrie will be our final
So that's a
rider.
good place to send, or to set. Dawn Wickman on Wilbur. She's nipped Terry in every event so far, just by a few tenths of a second. So let's see if she does it again. Well, that's almost running the gate. She didn't start it until the front half of the horse was in the arena. And there's your new leader, 9.331 for Dawn Wickman. Carrie Best is the next rider. Riding Dandy. And let's see what kind of a time Carrie gets.
Time 15.429.
15.429 for Carrie. So third place in the 35 to 49-year-old speed dash. Carrie Best on Dandy. Second place went to Terry Schleyer on shotgun. First place, again, Dawn Wickman on Wilbur with a time of 9.331. Now the speed dash for the 50 and over, Cindy Weir on Wimpy's Little Rough Sarah. Here she goes, and now she's off and running. She is the only rider in the 50 and over, has been all day. But you know what? Give her credit for being out here and doing it. And Cindy gets a clean run. We see her just about every week at these things.
Yep, Cindy's been
9.219, a good time for Cindy.
Cindy's been doing this a long time.
Okay, so that's going to bring us around to the ribbon race. I don't hear the tractor fire up, so I think that they're just going to go right into it. Dan, explain the ribbon race to us.
Ribbon race is a team of two, and you run down together. You are holding onto a ribbon, and you both have to hold onto it, go around the barrel and back without the ribbon breaking.
So it's like the speed race, only there's two of you together, and that ribbon can't break.
Right, yep.
And now, does the course provide the ribbons?
The course provides the ribbons, because you never know what it's made out of. That's okay.
Otherwise, exactly. You were telling me about doing this with pantyhose or something?
I've seen
because
it.
They stretch?
Yeah, I've seen it with a caution tape. I've seen it with pantyhose, many things.
Okay, so we have the ribbon race coming up. We have 8 teams. So there will be 8 runs. Ariel Backus and Christy Hines, or Kelsey Hines, I'm sorry, will be riding together. They'll be our first 2. They're out of that 18 to 34-year-old age group. This is kind of an open class, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, this is not a WSCA sanctioned class. This is just a club class.
So everybody, doesn't matter how old you are, everybody competes against everybody.
Right, yep.
So we have Ariel and Christy coming up first. As soon as they're ready. And I've got to give a shout out while we're doing it to our camera person, Ann Monroe, who's been running the camera today, and the sun has been in her face. And she gives a little wave to the camera. Thank you, Ann. But the sun has been in her face. She's been sitting there and just dripping. And once that sun came out, it got really hot. But we do have at least a nice breeze going on.
We do have a good road crew.
We do. And it's a little different every place we go, but same people, just different roles. And all right, so here's our first team with Ariel and Crystal. And
Let's see how long they made our ribbon here today.
It doesn't look very long.
That's what makes it exciting.
We're waiting for them to both get pointed in the same direction. It's about a foot long. Okay, as they are headed down. And the trick to this is riding together.
Yeah, especially with a short ribbon like this.
And around the barrel, and the faster horse needs to be on the outside.
Oh,
that ribbon broke before they got to the finish line. So that should be a no time for Ariel and Crystal.
No time. Terry and Kylie, you are up.
So Terry and Kylie, Terry Schleyer and Kylie Schleyer, I believe, are up. And so they're coming into the arena. And now they're off and running. Let's see if they get around this barrel. This is the tricky part, getting around the barrel and having that outside horse keep up. Now they're riding together. They've done this before.
Yeah.
Probably when Dad was teaching her how to ride, they probably rode like this a lot. Did you get that time there, Dan? 9.499. That's a pretty darn good time. That might be a tough one to beat. We have Layla and Memphis Cleveland. All right. And now they're off and running. And they come around. And they kept it together all the way across the timing line. 11.953. That puts them in second place. Kira and Alexis, Kira Prochnow and Alexis are next. And then the Olsen girls are after that, Addison and Ainsley. Although it's listed here as Ainsley and Addison, I bet Ainsley did that. Around the corner they go. They're going real wide to keep that perspective. A couple of pretty looking paints riding together. They made it through nicely.
Time,
10.999. That puts them into second place. And that brings up Addison and Ainsley as they come into the arena. And now they're on their way.
She got you. She got you
And we do have a scoring correction coming up. They come around the barrel very slowly as they're trying to keep it together. Up, they lost control of the ribbon. So it'll be a no time for Addison and Ainsley. Let's get that scoring correction while we have it here. Kira and Alexis are actually in first place with a 10.999. Second place is Terry and Kylie, the Schlayers, with 11.499. And then third place is Layla and Memphis Cleveland with 11.953. Now we have Joe on Rex, and I think he's with Allie. I can't tell who he's with.
Natalie.
Oh, he's with Natalie. Okay, and they didn't hang on all the way through.
That's because he was booking.
And so there'll be a no time. Okay, and so we have Allie and Emily. Okay, so we have Allie and Emily next.
JJ won some green. Squeeze, Allie.
Now, Dan, what do they call these Dalmatian-looking horses?
That one right there is a POA.
Which means?
Ponies of America.
Okay. It's a Dalmatian horse.
That one is, yep.
Now, they haven't been able to hang on to the ribbon yet, but they also haven't crossed the start line, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was the first horse I rode back in the day. A little POA called Freckles when I was probably 5 years old.
It's funny how you remember the first of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hand down, Allie. You get her, Andrea.
And now they're off and riding.
Hand down, Allie.
Up, and they didn't hang on. And they're on their way back. So it'll be a no time for Allie and Emily. So we have Jensen and Dawn. And we have a couple more. It turns out that I said we had 8. We actually have 11 teams.
Wonder why.
Few add-ons here.
Yeah, a few. So we have Jensen and Dawn. Jensen and Dawn heading down around the corner. Oh, I thought they were going to make that corner. No time for Jensen and Dawn. Emily and Maya are the next one. Waiting for them to come into the gate area. Emily and Maya. Then we have, is it Emerson and Megan?
Emerson and Megan.
And here they go. They're stretched out about as far as those arms can go, and they lose it going around the corner. That inside horse needs to remember they have to slow down to let that outside horse keep up. And finally, we have Emerson and Megan. This will be our last pair of riders for the day. And then we're going to be all wrapped up. So waiting on Emerson and Megan. After these guys are done, when I start to close things up, just kind of point over toward the We're still waiting for Emerson and Megan. They're coming through the gate now. We got to get the horses pointed in the same direction. There we go. Megan's got hers going, trying to get Emerson in there a little closer. And now they're off and running. And oh! Somehow those arms don't stretch like you expect them to. So that's going to wrap it up for the ribbon race. Third place is going to go to the team of Layla and Memphis Cleveland. Second place to Terry and Kylie Schleyer. And first place to Kira and Alexis with a time of 10.999. They are the winners of the ribbon race. And that is just about going to wrap things up for us here at Wild Bill's for Open Equestrian Games. And Dan, your impressions of today's activities?
Yeah, good job by all ages. Turned out to be a good day and great riders. So
yeah, we got really lucky with the weather. We had a nice little rain shower pass to the south of us. We got maybe a dozen drops of rain. We're kind of worried there for a minute. It was pretty dark, but boy, we didn't get anything.
Yeah, it was a good show today.
Beautiful day, warm. Yeah.
On to the next arena.
And that's next week. You can watch it next week tonight. Or 1 week from tonight, I should say, from Bit and Spur Saddle Club, more Open Equestrian Games. And then we have something special coming up on Saturday the 22nd, which will also be aired, I believe that's 2 weeks from tonight. We will have that on the air from the Circle T Arena in Thorpe. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, the Circle T Arena has a memorial game show coming up, so we are going up there.
That's a fundraiser, too, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, yep. So that'll be a good turnout and see some different horses, different
like for
people.
The first responders or something like that in Clark County, and hats off to those folks. They're always ready in case of an emergency, so we'll be there for that as well. So join us again next week at this same time for more Open Equestrian Games from the Bit and Spur Saddle Club. From Wild Bill Saddle Club just outside of Elk Mound, Rick Olson for Dan Petschow and our camera person, Ann Monroe. Good night, everyone.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
You've been watching the Western Saddle Clubs Association Open Equestrian Show on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. This program was recorded at Wild Bill Saddle Club near Elk Mound, Wisconsin. This has been a production of